There are faces of new MPs or new candidates. John Kuma is on the front page of the Finder. Stika is here. Penelope Battles is here. Hansen Norte and others. And the headline says, New faces take over. Dr. Awal calls for unity ahead of election 2020. Churches, mosques obeying COVID-19 prevention protocols, and COVID-19 recoveries and discharges rise to 10,473.
Front page of the Herald newspaper, Cocoa Board to sack Farouk Mahama after Yendi victory. Government unpopularity causes defeat of 40 MPs at primaries as NPP delegates cream US dollars, CDs, fridges, TV sets, gas burners, and blenders from aspirants. Also on the front page of the paper, embezzlement of COVID-19 cash at immigration, Kotoka International Airport.
Now, the Chronicle, 40 NPP kingpins thrown out of parliament. Asenso Boache wins the Bantama, Ochem loses. DC flees as military attack contestant. And minister who rode helicopter to register loses seats.
Front page of the new publisher paper, NPP sacks 40 MPs. Party confirms Akufo-Addo on July 27. Ama says speaking, she says, ghost delegates caused my defeat. And Wonder Boy Gerald fires up La NPP.
The front page of the new Crusading Guide is a big advertorial for the Electoral Commission of Ghana. And it's about the compilation of the 2020 voters register. If you want the details, get a copy.
The Ghanaian publisher also has cocoa price to go up, according to the Cocoa Board CEO. They also take a look at the 40 MPs who have lost, and they have new faces on the front page of the paper. Also here, ADB moves to address risk in agribusiness, and government probes demolition of Nigerian High Commission property.
The Ghanaian Observer, same story is here. Demolition of Nigerian High Commission's building. Government launches investigation. NPP big boys fall in primaries. John Kuma defeats Deputy Roads Minister, calls for unity, hard work to retain seat. Central Region Senior High Schools, Basic Schools ready to receive final year students. And Ofasia Yobi NPP acclaims upon Kroma.
Front page of the BNFT comes with a nice infograph. And stories says Bernard, government spends 6 billion cedis more in Q1 to fight COVID-19. Budget deficit has 3% against 1.9% target.
The Economic Times has an interesting headline. Job vacancies for first 4 months up by 61.7%. Banks' profitability growth drop. And HR expect calls for technology-intensive investment. Now, if you check the Gold Street business, shaky outlook for cocoa prices during rest of 2019-2020 crop season. 5-year T-bond to be issued, 5-year CDT bond to be issued this week, and MBSSI extends application period for stimulus package.
CitiNewsroom.com, Nathan Carr, head Citi FM Citi TV Research Desk. That's the latest. Also, ICU bed facilities treatment center to be constructed in Greater Accra and Ashanti. This is the president. Meanwhile, students and staff returning to schools not being put at risk, the president assures. Other stories, Ghana's COVID-19 case count now 14,154. MPP condemns violence among members after parliamentary primaries. Now, speaking of primaries, there are lots of stories. Offensive South MP blames loss by incumbent on workload in parliament. Also, government to absorb WASI fees for over 300,000 candidates. And John Kuma says winning MPP parliamentary primary in Ejisu was difficult. Now, the other developing story here is Nigerian High Commission forcibly trying to take over our land. This is OSUS 2. And then the Foreign Ministry probes demolition of Nigerian High Commission building. So I'm sure you give us details of that story. If you go to citibusinessnews.com, cut down livestock importation and support local farmers. This is an animal scientist speaking. Also, fix Unipass challenges to enable us clear our cars, automobile dealers to government. And ride-hailing app Smart Drivers Union wants service charge pegged at 15%. MyJoyOnline.com, lead story. Government to absorb 2020 WASI fees. Other stories. Ghana's wholesale adoption of reviewed COVID-19 discharge protocols is risky, according to a doctor. MPP primaries defeated candidate takes back 250 bicycles he donated to delegates and party executives.
I saw that video.
Meanwhile, one school, one isolation center, Akufo-Addo directs SHS's. Ghana News Agency is also talking about the president presents over 1,000 vehicles to senior high schools. And then WHO's revised recovery policy enables more persons to be discharged, according to the president. Now, let's go abroad briefly. Nigeria, the Ghana story is there. Channels TV is using that story. Nigeria condemns attacks on embassy in Ghana. If you go to This Day Live, that story is also there. and they're basically referring to what happened over the weekend, and that story is in almost all the Nigerian front pages. America's fuel record surge in virus cases. WHO records 183,000 new cases in 24 hours, the highest one-day rise, largely driven by Brazil. This is the BBC's lead story. So COVID is not going anywhere. Star News: dormitories to be used as isolation centers as schools resume. Also, government absorbed full examination fee for WASI students, and Navrongo NDC jubilate over Abaya guest victory. Godfrey, let's start with the primaries, and then we'll go into the High Commission.
I will start from the front page of the Daily Graphic. Then MPP parliamentary primaries, 40 incumbents fall. A political hurricane swept off some notable sitting members of parliament of the NPP in the party's parliamentary primaries last Saturday. 40 incumbent MPs failed to secure the mandate of delegates of the party in their constituencies to enable them to contest on the ticket of the NPP in the 2020 general election. Among the major casualties were the Minister of Aviation, Mr. Joseph Ada, who lost to the Upper East Regional Minister, Mrs. Tangoba Abayage, in Navrongo Central. The Eastern Regional Minister, Mr. Ekwachi Dafo, was also kicked out by delegates in Nkoko as he lost to Mr. Joseph Frimpong, while the Deputy Minister of Food and Agric, Dr. Sagri Bambange, was also given a rude awakening with his defeat to Hajia Lariba Abudu in Walewale. One of the key sitting MPs who lost his seat is the chairman of the Finance Committee, Dr. Mark Esibe Yeboah. And the story goes on to outline the other MPs who lost.
If you check the Ghanaian Times, it focuses primarily on the leaders of the various committees. So you mentioned Dr. Mark Esibe Yeboah, MP for New Jabin South constituency. Now, chairman of the Communications Committee, Frederick Opareansa, also MP of Suhum, chairman of Education Committee, MP of Achimodan, William Ejapon Kwetu, chairman of Legal Affairs, Ben Abdallah Banda, who serves as the MP of Finso South. The others are chairman of the Government Assurances Committee, Collins Ousa Mankwa, who is the MP of Menchia North, chairman of Youth and Sports Committee, Alexa Jokum, current MP of Mpoho, and vice chairman of Agri Committee and MP of Trifo Atimoka, Ibrahim Odum, and vice chairman of Rose Committee and MP of Tema Central, Kofi Brako.
Now,
those are mentioned
if you
here.
go to citizennews.com, MPP condemns violence among members after parliamentary primaries. The governing New Patriotic Party has rebuked its party members who have resorted to violence to express their displeasure post-parliamentary primary which took place on Saturday. Reports on various constituencies show MPP supporters of various aspirants engaging in fights or vandalism in disagreement to election results or disagreement with election results. One of such involves the youth in Woolensey in the northern region who burned the party office in the area in protest of the outcome of the election. According to the irate youth, the results of the primaries do not reflect the choice of the people. Now, the MPP, in a statement signed by National Chairman Freddie Blay, condemned such acts, describing them as unacceptable. Now, still on fallout from the primaries, defeated candidate takes back 250 bicycles he donated to delegates and party executives. This story is on myjournalline.com. An aspirant in the just ended primary of the MPP at Asin North has gone back for all the bicycles he donated to delegates after an embarrassing defeat.
Simple.
Erika Mankwabli had shared 250 bicycles to delegates prior to the election to each of the polling stations in the constituency. Although he campaigned vigorously across the length and breadth of the constituency, his performance was abysmal when the final results were announced on Saturday. He secured 44 votes. He gave 250 bikes, got 44 votes. Against
Plus
the incumbent
money.
MP,
Plus money.
Abuna Drua Mensa, who polled 389. Obviously disappointed, the results made Mr. Blay and his supporters stormed the various houses of delegates across the constituency to retrieve the bicycles shared among the party members to cast their votes in his favor. He spoke to Adom News Alfred Amwa. Amos said the motive behind the distribution of the bicycles was for campaign purposes. He said, for that matter, failure to endorse his candidature means you don't like the bike.
Simple.
Famadi Amami.
Quick.
According to him, the unit cost of the bike was 300 cedis. Apart from the bike, he claims to have shared 200 and 500 to each delegate and constituency executive to endorse his candidature,
What
but they
bikes are
failed to
those?
do so.
300 cedis per bike.
Maybe Buzanga Volvo. I'm not taking the money back, but for the bicycle, dear, I want them back. He said. So those are some of the fallouts from the primaries.
Yeah, and if you go to Bernard, the new publisher paper, it gives us a bit of insight into a candidate we didn't really know too much about, Gerald Joseph Ninyanyo Fio, the UPS electoral. Yes, Lade Kotopon. He beat Vincent Sowodote, and it tells us a bit about his local level politics. So for those who want to get to know him,
let's go
get
to
the
this
paper.
armed men destroy buildings
Yes.
belonging to
Okay,
Nigeria High
back page
Commission.
of the Ghanaian Times. Foreign Ministry condemns demolition of diplomatic quarters in Accra. Now, the story says the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration says it is investigating the demolition of a block of uncompleted apartments on the premises of the Nigerian High Commission in Accra by unidentified men on Friday. According to a statement issued by the ministry over the weekend, the actions of the armed men was in breach of the Vienna Convention, adding that the perpetrators would be brought to book. Now, the ministry expressed regrets over the incident and assured the Nigerian High Commission and other diplomatic missions in the country of their safety and regard for the rule of law. Now, if you go to Nigeria, the Nigerian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyema, in a post on Twitter, condemned the incident, describing it as criminal.
Meanwhile, the Osu stool has accused the Nigerian High Commission of trespassing on a parcel of land belonging to it. This is on citynewsroom.com. This follows reports indicating that armed men allegedly invaded the parcel of land that the commission was erecting a building on. Paramount Chief of Osu, Neokwe Kinkadowona the Sixth, in a statement clarified that the said land belongs to the Osu stool and not the state. Ni Kinkadowona the Sixth, in a statement, alleged that the previous structure on the side land was destroyed while a new one was erected by a supposed Nigerian businessman with support from the Nigerian Commission in Ghana. The statement perceived the structure being erected by the business person with the aid of the High Commission as an attempt by the Nigerian mission to forcibly take over the said parcel of land. Nido owner insisted that the Foreign Office of the Commission had not purchased any parcel of land from the stool or the Lands Commission. He said the trespasser had failed to honor the council's several invitations for discussion on the ownership of the land.
Okay, so we have taken our land issues international. Let me take you to page 24 of the Daily Graphic. I want to start some COVID stories.
Yeah.
Over 5,000 fraudsters apply for COVID-19 stimulus fund.
I thought you would tell us what the president is doing first, because that's also quite serious. He's essentially gave a speech yesterday.
All right, then let me take you to page 16 of the Daily Graphic then. Before
Whilst you look for that, let me give you an update on the numbers.
No.
The story is ready.
Okay.
President Ronald Akufo-Addo has announced a fresh package of interventions that will help make life comfortable and safe for final year senior high school students and second year Gold Track students who are returning to school. It includes for the first time the absorption of the West African Senior School Certificate examination fees of the 313,837 SHS3 students, amounting to 75 million Ghana cedis. In addition, the government is making available 350 buses and 840 pickup vehicles for senior high schools that did not receive vehicles in 2016. In his short address to the nation on Ghana's enhanced response to the COVID-19 pandemic yesterday, the president further indicated that through the National Food and Buffer Stock Company, enough food supplies had been distributed to all schools.
He also said that he will protect final year students and that dormitories will be used as isolation centers. And then we are told of the latest numbers. Could you give us the latest numbers?
And the new policy.
Yes, Ghana's COVID-19 recoveries and discharges have risen to 10,473. After 399 new recoveries were confirmed by the Ghana Health Service. The country's health management body, in its latest update, also confirmed 290 new infections, bringing the country's case count to over 14,000.
Wow.
The death toll, however, remains 85, leaving the country with over 3,000 active cases. Currently, 22 cases are considered severe, with 6 in critical condition and on ventilators. The new infections, according to the update, were recorded in 7 regions of the country. Now, Greater Accra has over 8,000 cases, representing almost 60% of the country's total caseload. Now, on the same page of the Finder, there's a 10 Ghana challenge which has been launched to raise funds for the infectious disease facility. Remember that facility that is being built by the private sector fund? They say they have a 7.1 million funding gap. And so they've launched a challenge, 10 Ghana challenge. They want each Ghanaian to give them 10 Ghana cedis. So that they can complete
finish
the project.
Okay.
And
That's
the
a
short
good one.
code for the donation is *718*25*219# on all networks.
Now, WHO's revised recovery policy enables more persons to be discharged. This is the president. This is GNA. President Akufo-Addo says more persons are being discharged from COVID-19 isolation and treatment centers due to the adoption of the revised patient discharge and recovery policy of the WHO. Ghana, as of Saturday, had discharged 10,473 from isolation centers. President Akufo-Addo, in a televised address Sunday night to give an update on the measures, explained that Ghana's approach to dealing with the pandemic was science and data-driven. He pointed out that the initial handling of the clinical care of COVID-19 patients was driven by the recommendation of scientific community and WHO, which recommended the 2 main criteria for declaring someone who had tested positive as having recovered from the disease. But according to WHO, asymptomatic persons, those who have tested positive for the virus but are not exhibiting any symptoms after 14 days, are not likely to be infectious and therefore are unlikely to be able to transmit the virus to another person. And therefore, the government has decided to adopt that new approach, hence the new discharges.
Okay, well, then let me do some COVID politics as well for you before I go back to my fraudster story. Social distancing policy breached at MPP primaries.
Charlie.
The country's quest to organize a successful general election by observing the protocols of social distancing amid the COVID-19 pandemic was put to test last Saturday when the MPP organized its primaries. Successful as the elections went throughout the country, in some instances, caution was completely thrown to the wind as some supporters of the various contestants totally ignored the call for social distancing during the period. Amid drumming, singing, and dancing, the party faithful, particularly those belonging to the winning candidates, were seen in large groups not obeying the directives.
Now you're talking about ghost names.
Yes, ghost names, that's on page 24. It has been detected that applicants with fictitious data, documents, and personal details were among those who applied for the special fund set up by the government to cushion small and medium-scale businesses from the impact of the COVID-19. Data from the National Board and Small-Scale Industry showed that 5,200 out of a total of 450,000 applicants presented fake documentation to benefit from the 1 billion Ghana cedi CAP business support
Kojo.
scheme.
Now, let me take you to some road stories. Page 10 of the New Crusading Guide. Road contractors chase minister over arrears. Sawalan Sabuatin writes that the expectation of every employee is to receive what is due him from his employer, according to the agreed terms. However, the case of road contractors in the country seems to be different, as it has emerged that they have not been paid the arrears due them for the past 3 to 4 years. Recently, the government said it was paying contractors whose contract worth was between 500,000 0 cedis to 500,000 cedis, but with emerging details, most of the contractors who had multiple certificates are yet to receive such payments. And the story continues that they are chasing the minister for their funds.
Now let's go to City Business News. Fix Unipass challenges to enable us clear our cars, automobile dealers to government. The Automobile Dealers Union of Ghana has called for the immediate resolution of all technical issues surrounding the GRA's new integrated customs management systems. Now, the Unipass was rolled out in June to take over the single window platform from GCNet and West Blue, but has faced many challenges. In an interview, General Secretary of the association, Clifford Ansu, said challenges with the new system have disrupted clearing activities and has adversely affected their business.
And on the back page of the Daily Graphic, 214 domestic workers from Gulf states arrived home, and these ones, Bernard, came particularly from Lebanon. And according to Ghana's ambassador to Egypt, Dr. Winfred Neokai Hammond, 700 more have registered to be evacuated.
That many.
Yes.
Now, there's a large surge in COVID numbers globally, 183,000 new cases, largely driven by Brazil.
Yeah, they did 54,000 in one day.
Followed by USA and India. The high level of confirmed cases is partly down to a global increase in testing. Brazil passed 50,000 COVID deaths. Only the US has more deaths. And this is getting very serious.
50,000
deaths in Brazil. And then globally, almost 9 million confirmed cases since the outbreak began, with 467,000 people dead. Kojo, a few quick headlines.
Yes, last one. Job vacancies for first 4 months up by 61.7%. Now, the Economy Times did a survey where advertised jobs in the dailies and online platforms in the first 4 months of this year have gone up by 61.7%. And they are saying that even in the wake of COVID, there seem to be available jobs for people to apply for, and they are looking at 1,389 jobs as at April compared to 859 advertised last year.
That's all we have time for.
It looks like it's true. Liverpool can't play in empty stadium.
Oh, that's all we have time for the newspaper review. Coming up next is the City Business News. Stay with